even if a rapper doesn't buy a beat today, that doesn't mean 2 months from now they won't. I've had artists wait years to get beats. What's going down? It's the Music Entrepreneur Club podcast. My name is DJ Payne One. I'm joined by Erinn Knight and Dame Ritter. Today is the Power Hour. We are going to speed run through this podcast. All right, Dame, you're about to hit 5 topics in the next 30 seconds. This is going to be amazing.
No, he's not. Dame is still trying to wake up. Dame got very little sleep last night, and we're still trying to get this damn web series out. So many issues in post-production. And thank you to the people that reached out, because there's some folks that are editors that that I guess watch this podcast. So I got to look through your stuff and see if it makes sense to work in the future. I don't have anything right now, but you know, editing always comes up. We need good editors, people that communicate well, that do good work.
We got a bunch of inquiries. Unfortunately, some people thought we needed an editor for the podcast, and I mean, hey, maybe we do, but it was about the web series, so a little more interesting work.
And I probably wouldn't reach back out to you because obviously you don't listen, so we didn't need that for the podcast. Anyway, what's up with you, Erinn?
I'm doing good. I just can't figure out how I keep ending up with so many meetings on my schedule because I've kind of moved into my chill phase. I'm very much embracing being a podcaster, but for some reason I keep ending up with all these meetings. So I don't
understand how you're a manager and not understanding why you have all these meetings. Like that's because
my team mostly manages now. I've really stepped back from that. I teach my team. So I don't do a lot of the client. Well, I guess I do more of the heavy lifting client calls, but I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe that's what it is. Because I'm doing the heavy lifting and then still passing the stuff along to my team. I guess that makes sense. I guess because I'm not directly working with my artists every day like I used to, I assumed that I wouldn't have as many calls, but I still do.
But here's my I never not worked kind of day to day, but when I used to be super visible, super accessible, and when we did start adding a few people in to do the things that I was doing that wasn't even management related, you really have to kind of watch that, because when the artist doesn't see you, they think you're not working. So that was one of the things that caused an issue in my situation. It's just like, oh, Dame didn't go on tour. He must not be working. Like, well, I'm not a tour manager. I just did it before so hopefully.
I don't have any relationships with artists like that now. We only have 3 on our roster now, and they all get it. But they do ask me to be vocal. They'll be like, well, Erinn, what's your opinion on it? And I'll be like, the team already told you, so I get it though.
For sure. All right, let's go through some topics. Instagram is going to start the paid monthly subscription for I don't even know what you get in addition to a blue check, but the blue check is the thing that kind of bothers me, because I think from Twitter, I experimented with Twitter Blue. I wanted to do it because Elon alluded to us, like our reach being a little bit more limited, and that's what I would pay for.
And he lied. What a shock.
Yeah, but I think it does. I think I don't know. I've never been like that. I've never had that much engagement on Twitter. And I guess the Twitter Blue run was so short, I couldn't really see the difference between. It wasn't that much of a difference, but I think isn't there a separate feed for mentions with blue checks?
Yeah, which is just flooded. I used to use it when I would want to find tweets that were maybe from public figures or artists that I had reached out to, just, because they tended to be public figures and therefore verified. And that's initially what the blue check meant. And then when I would check my feed, it was pretty much indistinguishable from the regular feed because everybody had a blue check. So that feature just ended up becoming completely worthless because, think about all the scammers and spammers out there and the people that are just doing all types of bullshit that you want to avoid. Now they all have blue checks. So you can't cut through the noise by filtering out non-verified profiles. So that part, just there should have been two separate feeds, but whatever. I'm over this Twitter blue thing because it didn't affect me very much at all.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to do like a little bit of I wish it would have just been a different color. Like, so I guess organically have a blue check on Instagram, but I never got one on Twitter. I'm completely fine with that. But I did see how people react like to a blue check. Like there is some, I feel like some people hit me back. I feel like I got noticed a little bit more when I would send like cold DMs. I feel like more people would hit me back than when I didn't have a blue check. So I think
on Twitter, you're saying?
On Instagram.
Oh, Insta. Okay, yeah.
On Instagram. I don't know what the blue check. I just wanted to stay visible, and there were some other features like longer uploads. I feel like I'm fine with a subscription. Just the blue check because like people have put so much emphasis on a blue check. It just makes everything weird. I just wish that Instagram just provided like other things. And even I might pay, depending on what what it is. If you're a little bit more visible, whatever, like I'll pay for that, like no problem. It's just
they should offer higher monetization for Reels. Because my artists who are verified, we get higher. Like our Reels monetization is a little bit higher than my artists who aren't verified. So it's like, if by paying a subscription, you offer a higher Reels monetization, so many more people would pay for the subscription, even though it's probably not going to be a significant boost. You know what I'm saying? To me, that creates an equitable economy where we're getting something that actually produces monetary value to us versus it just being a clout play. Like, I think that that's what the sick part is. There's a lot of creators on here trying to actually make money and run good businesses, but they're just feeding into the clout economy, which is really frustrating.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if that's possible, right? Because it's like if they pay you $15 more in Reels money, then they just lost their $15 for the month for the subscription then, right?
No, because I feel like a lot of people, and it's not even that much, it's literally like a $5 bump. And if it's like if you post a certain amount at certain times, or maybe it's like you're eligible for a Reels bonus if you pay, you know what I'm saying? Because, and I get what you're saying, but I feel like the vast majority of people, even who have the opportunity to do the Reels now, that to get paid for Reels, don't take advantage of it. I know plenty of people who don't take advantage of it. So it's like, I don't think they'd be losing any money. A lot of people would initially say, oh, I could make more money here. Let me sign up for it. And they're really just paying for the check, or they're really just paying for it. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like if there's some sort of incentive for creators that actually would benefit creators, I feel like them gatekeeping the verification for all this time and then now opening it up and being like, we're trying to make it more so that y'all can verify who you are. It's like, yo, like, that's not true, because I literally, to get any artist that I have verified, had to jump through a million hoops and then reach out to my distributors. And then we had to submit, and then it had to be desubmitted. And then we had to send the screenshots to the distributor to hit up Instagram. Like, if people knew even what like I've gone through, and I have some legit acts, do you know what I'm saying? So for them to now say, oh no, it's because we care about y'all now. Like, y'all just want to run up the revenue. Meta. Right. You know what I'm saying? And that's what's frustrating to me. It's like, don't present something as helpful if it's not going to be mutually beneficial. There's not a benefit to other people aside from perception. And now everybody is going to be like frustrated. Like even with Twitter, I'm frustrated because it's like, you don't know what's legit. And then even when you see people who are now verified with small followings, your thought process is like, oh, wait, are they actually verified, or is this Twitter blue? Whereas there are a lot of people that I know, especially like journalists and smaller managers, who had a blue check, but they just have a smaller following. So now it's just like, You know what I'm saying? I think the legitimacy thing, I typically don't even care about verification on any platform. I look at who people that I respect are following. Like if you're followed by a lot of people that I know personally or business people that I respect, then I tend to feel like, okay, you're valid, right? But now I just feel like it's going to create a ton of chaos. But I guess that's what social media is chaotic. I think this is a time for people to get back into mailing lists and email lists, and all of you weirdos who don't know how to talk to people in real life, now is your opportunity to get better at that.
Yeah, I just don't like. I mean, I'm cool. I prefer. It's not like I'm saying no blue checks at all. Like I do. There definitely are problems with just the initial blue check system, but to me, that's better than just giving everybody a blue check. Because the scamming is out there. It's real. We put too much emphasis on a blue check, and it's just, I don't know who is who on, especially Twitter, man. Twitter, the most random pages, like, that wasn't like complete security for me. But if you did have a blue check, it made me do kind of another layer of research. Like, okay, who is this person? But yeah, but did you guys? I couldn't see what the other things you get are, and $15 like Twitter Blue is $8 if you sign up for it on your computer, and then I guess 11 if you sign up for it on Apple. On your iPhone.
Yeah, I think it was
like 50, like
money, cash hose, that type of thing. That's what happens with it. So, like what Erinn said. Where's the actual value beyond just the clout? And I personally haven't seen it. Correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't seen anybody with Twitter Blue touting their new reach or any new features. It's just suddenly the checks are there and that's it. I haven't heard any follow up about, because there were a ton of people, a bunch of Elon Musk dick riders who were swearing up and down, this is going to democratize the platform. It's going to democratize the algorithm. Knowing goddamn well they just wanted a blue check to kind of get a taste of elitism. And I think, well, one, if that's what people are looking at that system as, then yeah, there is a problem with the system. But its original intent, I think, should be preserved in some way because of the scams, because you are protecting people. When what throws me off is when I'm trying to find an artist or a producer and there are multiple pages, and this happens all the time. I don't know who's who, or any kind of YouTuber, any kind of public figure that I want to reach out to. I don't know who's who. And even, again, when I got impersonated on Instagram, they didn't even have a blue check. And everything was misspelled, and people were still following them. They had like 1,100 followers, and I thought, damn, they were scamming people for $50. So I don't know what else we can do. But as we saw with Twitter Blue, now anyone on Instagram can just go on, say they're Erinn Knight or Dame or DJ Pain One, and get the blue check for $15, and they're going to make that money back by scamming people. And then if they get kicked off, cool, they just find another celebrity, sign up to another Gmail and do it again. They know that this is going to happen. They just don't care. So all this pretense of caring about people and this and that is just a scam.
I don't know. I don't know if it's going to last, because Instagram has rolled out a lot of other features that they took back pretty quickly. I won't say the same way that Twitter has recently, but I do know that there have been other things that Instagram has rolled out and people complained. I think that Instagram is so vast, it's going to be very difficult, especially because you can change your name. It's like somebody may submit under one name, and they, I think part of it, they say you have to show your driver's license, but that's so weird to me because most people, especially in the music industry, ascribe to an alias. So it's like, that's why I feel like it may not fully take form, but I do think that it's a weird money grab and it's frustrating to think, but we know it. Nobody actually cares about us.
What features would you pay for? Is there anything that you wish Instagram had that was like, hey, and I think the $15 is off too. $15 is like it's like Netflix now. And Netflix is
no, Netflix is $20, and they're talking about going up again. Netflix is $19.99, and they're talking about it's about to be $22.99.
Oh, that's getting canceled. That Netflix,
I'm about to cancel mine because I only keep it because my mom uses my account. Netflix is getting out of hand.
Yeah, Netflix, you can't keep putting out more trash and raising the price because Netflix shows now it's like, it's getting the perception of like a Tubi show. Like, oh, it's a Netflix movie. You have to like say, oh, it was good for a Netflix movie. Like now
documentaries be hitting though. That's the only reason they still got a chokehold on me because they documentaries and I'm a documentary freak, especially sports documentaries. That's the only reason I'm still there.
Yeah. Some of the shows be cool. I mean, they have a few shows that hit, but like the movies, I feel like they always, even when they spend a bunch of money, like they always swing and miss on the movies. There's very few movies, maybe that Adam Sandler basketball movie, but I still don't know if I like that movie because I'm a hoop fan or is it a good movie? Like it
wasn't a good movie, Dave. Come on. That movie, it had the beginnings of a good movie and then they just dropped you off and you're like, what?
Yeah.
What movie? Adam Sandler basketball movie?
Yeah, it's called Hustle.
He's not playing basketball. He's a coach.
No, he's a scout.
Not a coach. Yeah, he works on the administrative side of the ball.
Yeah.
Is Nelly in it? I hope so.
Nelly, that's random.
No, because he was in that other. Wasn't he in the other movie with Adam Sandler?
I don't know. I'm not a huge Adam Sandler fan. Like I respect him, but like that style of comedy, there's probably only a few Adam Sandler movies that I like, and I think maybe 50 First Dates was
50 First Dates hits though. Yeah. That's the one. Him and Drew Barrymore, that's the one.
I like the one with Chris Rock, but that was more not for
grown-ups.
No, the one where there's the marriage thing and like Chris Rock is the rich doctor and
I tried to watch that 3 times and couldn't get through it.
Oh, because he was also in that the Longest Yard. Chris Rock was in that and Adam Sandler. That was whatever.
Yeah, Nelly was in Longest Yard.
Yeah, that one he was.
I like The Longest Yard too. I agree with that, Payne. It's pretty cool.
A lot of the movies are enjoyable. You're not mad that you sat through it, but the movies are whatever.
This is becoming like
Blackbusters podcast. Yeah. It'll be Blackbusters podcast. But anyway, so I hope to sum it up, I hope Instagram pulls back from this. $15 is way too much, and I think that there probably are some features that they can have and give access to make a subscription service. Just the blue check has really. Well, saying fucked up society is a bit much, but like it's just really weird with the scamming and please Instagram pull back from this. I'm surprised there hasn't really been another social media platform with all the issues that we have with these platforms. Like, where's the next one that's just a little bit, if you can just be a little bit creator friendly, like I feel like people would flock to your platform as long as it didn't have hella bugs and was just cool. I know that there's some in the pipeline, but like I thought something would emerge by now.
I see them trying. I feel like there has to be some sort of new swell from young creatives, because that's generally what it is. I think with Twitter, it was young journalists. With Instagram, it was young visual artists and models. And with what was the thing that died? Vine. It was young comedians. It was an entirely new generation of comedians. People clown Instagram models left and right, but realistically, they ushered in a new generation of beauty influencers. TikTok ushered in a new generation of dance influencers, cooking influencers. So there has to be some sort of creative groundswell. It's not going to come from the top down ever. And I think that's where a lot of these emerging social media platforms are getting it wrong, where they're like, well, we're going to do the top down approach and tell you exactly what these features are, when I don't know. And maybe I wasn't there, so I could be completely wrong about how these different platforms actually took off and hit critical mass of users, but it felt organic, and it just kind of felt like something that not necessarily luck dictated, but a certain number of creatives using it in a certain way, that the way that the creatives took over the platform, that's what dictated the success.
I think the builders, though, are building for Web3 now. So it's different, like if you have any sort of merit with, like if you have any sort of value or you have a good team, you're building for Web3 now. And I just know the rate that Meta is acquiring companies as well. They're like eating their competition. They're absorbing things that probably would never even survive just so that nobody else can get the intel and whatever. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think that's part of it, is that Meta has gotten so big. It has the opportunity to acquire a lot of the other burgeoning ones. And then I think that, anybody who's building, nobody is building for Web 2 anymore. And the viral creators, all of that, currently still want to be on Web 2. Web 3 is still not yet accessible and reasonable and making sense. So I think that's where the issue is right now. There's no middle ground right now.
And there's no bridge either.
But even building for Web3 doesn't mean you can't. I mean, because the newer ones they have like a Web3 component, and I think it's going to be a situation where like you don't even know you're using Web3. So I don't know if it's like a Web3 versus Web2. I heard of something called Mastodon, and I created an account, and it was kind of weird. I was like, I didn't like that. There's a Black-owned one called Spill. Well, I've just secured my username, but it's not available yet. But then there's a Web3 component to that that I don't understand just yet. But so yeah, hopefully something, there's a market for you guys here. Hurry up. Like
when I say building for Web3, I think I mean more so building for a Web3 mindset. I agree that it's going to be seamless when it happens, or seamless for the most part. But I think because I'm doing a lot of these like consulting calls or like get to know you calls with Web3 builders. And a lot of times they're like, yeah, it's seamless. It makes sense. But the vernacular, the mindset, the protocols that they're using is focused on Web3. So they're not thinking about users who don't think like that just yet. So that's what I'm saying, more so like their approach isn't super friendly to people who are consumers right now.
Yeah, well, I hope somebody accelerates the process, because this is getting out of hand. Instagram, I mean, these social networks changed our lives, so I'm not gonna, social media is powerful. I just thought we would have more options by now, and it seems like, Vine gone, Triller seems like it's gone or on the way out. I never really got into Triller. But anyway, all right, let's switch topics. So there was a conversation. Ghetto Boys, for the people that probably watch this podcast, have no idea who the Ghetto Boys are. If you are,
nah, you can't be a fan of hip hop and not at least be aware of the Ghetto Boys. Come on.
Nah, there's a lot of people that don't. I mean, there's a lot of. I mean, because to be honest, like what would be the cutoff? Where I think if you are 25 or younger, you probably never heard of the Ghetto Boys. Anyway, it was a rap trio that existed in the 90s, right?
And early 2000s. It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah. Scarface is probably the most recognized, and he went on to have a solo career that was very successful, but the other members were Willie D and Bushwick Bill.
But Willie D is in the podcasting sphere, so he may have more recognition with the current generation.
Maybe. And so he was on, but they have a podcast together because it's called the Ghetto Boys Podcast. So I think, or is it just Willie D that has?
Well, Willie D had one before that.
Okay. So anyway, Bushwick Bill has passed away. So there were two of them on the podcast, and on this particular episode, the Ghetto Boys podcast. And recently, the Grammys held a celebration for hip hop's 50th anniversary, and they had a performance that included a medley of people, like there's a lot of people on the Grammys. Scarface was part of this performance, and he performed a verse from a song that was a Ghetto Boys song. So when on the podcast, Willie D was upset because, not only did he perform the song, but he wasn't even aware that Scarface was a part of the performance, performing a song that they recorded together or put out together. So Willie D was upset that this happened, and Scarface was listening. I don't even know if I watched it long enough to see what the end result was. It looked like both of them just kind of were upset, or Scarface was like, "Why are you upset?" What was your guys' take from? Because there's definitely some learnings to pull out from this. Because just communication issues with teams, especially with a team like the Ghetto Boys that's been around for decades. There's definitely stuff that has happened before that this is building on top of. Maybe some tit for tat and just other issues. You're not together for decades and just not have arguments, disagreements, fights. Because as a group or as a team, you're just together too much for that stuff not to happen. You just hope it doesn't break up the team or mess up the money. What was your guys' take from their exchange?
I mean, every group I've been in has broken up, but I just have a question. Why would BET only contact one member for this performance opportunity? Or not BET, the Grammys.
It's probably because it's Scarface. Scarface just had. I can think of two reasons. They wanted the more popular artist out of the group, and maybe they felt like whoever put it together felt like Scarface, the individual artist, was bigger than the Ghetto Boys. Now, I'm not here to have that debate, but maybe that's what they thought. The other thing I can think of, maybe Willie D pissed somebody off back in the day that had some connection to the Grammys performance, because Willie D is a pretty outspoken cat. I don't know him, but maybe he had a disagreement. We talk about this all the time. These relationships matter. You never know who's going to be sitting in what seat and is going to have what influence or control over something. So, when you start being in this game for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, it's a lot of people that you're going to come into contact with. And do they think highly of you? So maybe there was somebody that was like, oh, we're not going to have. And also, I feel like I've seen clips where Willie D, they talk about some pretty sensitive things. So maybe he had a perspective on something that they I don't know. I'm just guessing now, but maybe he had a perspective on the podcast on some topic that's controversial, and they didn't want to give him a platform to potentially, give a view. I don't know.
To let Scarface perform a Scarface song. That's my take.
So you would be upset just because he performed a song that you guys put out as a group?
I would be more upset that he didn't bring up the fact that I was on the song and that I was most likely available to perform. That would have just felt strange to me. I don't know what is going on between the two of them. They're legends. That's all I'm going to say. But for me, if this had happened with just any of the artists that I've worked closely with, I would have probably felt a way about it.
Yeah, so I agree with you. The thing that I was confused by is that Willie D said that he asked Scarface what he was doing this weekend. And it was just kind of a downplay. Oh, I'm just going to mess with the Grammys. It wasn't like he was performing. He just said it like he was maybe just going to the Grammys. Scarface didn't even let him know that he was performing.
That's like, funny in like a kind of not funny way, but it's funny to me.
So it's like, how do you not even let him know? You got a podcast together, so I'm assuming there's still some relationship there, some friendship there. You know, if if one of you guys was going to do something, going to speak at a conference, and you know it was all about the MEC, I'd be like, I don't care, just tell me. Like if you hid it from me, you were like, and then I go online and then it's something MEC related, and I was like, oh wow, I didn't even know you were doing that.
That's the only reason that I feel like, as much as I could see, like you said, like maybe because it was Questlove who was like the MD for it. Not putting this on him, but I feel like I understand them reaching out for a portion of the group, again, for Scarface. But to me, the moment he goes to do a Ghetto Boys song, I feel like he could say like, oh yeah, but I want Willie D here. And they could have chose yes or no. But with Scarface kind of sidestepping the conversation and then getting really defensive, I'm like, maybe this was his choice. Because he could have easily been like, the show just reached out to me. They asked me to do a Ghetto Boys song because it's a more famous song, but the Scarface name, because he kind of goes into that, like the Scarface name, you know what I'm saying? So he could have, if that's what it was, that was to me an easy conversation. But him not telling him he's performing, then getting defensive when he asked him why, and then being like, well, you've never performed with me. To me, that tells me that it was more of Scarface's decision than it was the powers that be reaching out. Because if somebody reaches out to me and says, hey, Erinn, I want you from the MEC, but it's because you're a woman or it's because you're Black and we're doing a Black history thing. And I would be like, well, my guys are biracial. And then they're like, oh, well, we still just want you. Then to me, that's like easy conversation with y'all, because that's not on me. But if I'm like, nah, don't invite them, like it's just about me, then I would have to come up with a ton of excuses. That's what I'm saying. I think that I don't know what happened, and I can't make, and I know that they had a bunch of people on stage, and I know that they probably weren't trying to add more people, but the way that he was trying to defend himself, I just kind of think that he had a little bit more to do with it and just wanted his moment again. You know what I'm saying?
Right. At the end of the day, like I don't, bring this up just for our amusement. It really just goes to show like how important communication is with your team. And like, there's going to be little frustrations that just build over time, I think that's kind of what happened with Funk Volume. Like, I think that over time, I probably should have had somebody come in and just be another voice, an authoritative voice, like somebody that was like my right-hand man. And just instead of hearing, I see people in the comments on the YouTube is like, oh, Dame's voice is so annoying or whatever. Like over time, like maybe that's what it is. Like just the sound of that person's voice may start to get under your skin, like these little small things that you never talk about and maybe you don't even identify can just build up over time and just make you act a certain way that maybe you wouldn't have otherwise. So the communication just has to be consistent, and you just got to check it, maybe even go to therapy together, like over the years, because little things are going to build up. Even if you don't address, even if it's not something that should be addressed at the time, maybe it's something that happened on tour, or maybe it's something that happened on a video shoot, that things that you just ignored, but just kind of you start to develop a little bit of a negative feeling towards that person that manifests itself in different ways in the future. And that person's like, yo, where did that come from? Like, so yeah, I just think it's important to communicate, maybe go to therapy, get feedback from people that are witnessing, both sides, because it's tough to stay together. It's tough.
How do touring acts stay together? If you go on more than one tour and you're in the same physical space and geographic location all the time, how do you not want to just go to Mars?
Hopefully if you're together longer, hopefully you're having more success, but we've heard stories of, okay, now this artist has a completely like other bus or a different mode of transportation. Like there's some separation there, because when you start and you're just in that van together, like, me and my brother almost fought a few different times, just being cooped up, and then it gets weird because it's not a normal way to live. It's not a normal way to live.
And you act in ways that you would never have acted otherwise. I swear. It's like worse than, people are like, oh, they got drunk and he just becomes an asshole. Nah, that's how you are. With touring, it brings something out of you. I don't know why.
I also think it's like a maturity and a personality thing. Because when I started touring, like after a year, I just was mature enough to know that I had to have time to myself. Even if it was like going on a walk and the guys would be like, oh, I want to go with you, I'd be like, hell no. Like, I just gotta be by myself. And I think it's kind of like that mental conditioning. I would go into tours being like, this is what we're about to have going. Like I tell people all the time, I'm like, you may think tour is so fun, but I don't think touring is fun personally. I just don't. But when I was younger, maybe my first couple of tours, I thought it was fun, but I was more eager to go to the places and see the people. But touring is not fun, even for people who enjoy that type of lifestyle. Your sleep schedule is messed up. Your mental health is you're disconnected from everything that gives you a rhythm and the people, you know what I'm saying? So it sounds fun, but that's personally why I don't super believe in touring, especially for people who suffer from mental health issues, which are the vast majority of artists. It is very unsustainable and it can get dangerous at times. But I think if you approach it from a mentally mature place and you're not looking to serve yourself all the time and you kind of remove your ego and only let that come up on stage, I think you can make it happen. But most people don't have the emotional or any version of maturity to see that ahead of time and be like, let me prepare myself for the fight that I'm about to go into.
Yeah. Like, I try to have as much of a routine as possible when I would go on tour. But like you said, it just totally takes you away from what your routine typically is that, probably keeps your sanity at home. And there are moments that were fun for sure. If you don't tour, you don't have the stories. Like there's definitely stories that happen you want to be a part of that. You want to see it, you want to experience. So like, yeah, I don't want to completely shit on touring, but it is a different life, especially that beginning, that van tour, that everybody in one room tour, when there is really no budget, that's a rough.
Sleeping head to toe with the guys and they refuse to take showers.
Oh yeah, I never experienced that, but
yeah, there's like a certain kind of.
I'm so tired.
Oh hell no! You get your funky ass in the shower. Nah, they don't take the showers. But yeah, so no, it creates stories though that I'm glad I went. But yeah, and I'm normally especially when I'm like if I'm the tour manager or just out in business, like I look very serious. I understand that. But like there's a lot going on tour where you're trying to, as a tour manager, you're pretty much responsible for keeping the show moving, the hotels, food, like everything, so it's hard to be like a super fun, outgoing person and be a tour. Most tour managers I know are kind of dicks, like, or at least appear that way when they're doing their job.
I've never met a nice tour manager before I met myself. I hate tour managers. They are the worst. Tour managers are so rude and they always have an issue and they're always moving a mile a minute. Like there's a million, like, bro, I get it, but relax. You don't have to do that way.
Shout out to my guy, Brian Buckley, who I understand why people think he's a dick, but he's actually really cool. He's just doing his job for us. Like, you need somebody that's willing to have those tough conversations with the promoters or whoever to make sure we get paid and, make sure we get everything on our rider and all that kind of stuff. So, Anyway, I know we have one more topic that we wanted to knock out, Payne, before we shut this down.
Yeah, real quick.
Maybe two.
Well, I tweeted about this and got some feedback from. I made a TikTok video too and got some pretty good insight from recording artists. But this is for producers. I know things are tough when it comes to trying to make a living in the music business. We end up dealing with a lot, and I want your insight too because I'm seeing it from a producer's perspective. But we're dealing with a lot internally, mentally. We deal with a lot of self-doubt and fear, and I feel like that. All much like touring can exacerbate any sort of mental health issues that you're facing already. Like depression is a big one. So if you're in the music business and things just don't seem to be moving in the way that you want and you're facing money problems, all hell can break loose. And I know that there's this really tempting impulse to go on social media and vent about it. And from my perspective, I see producers doing it all the time. They'll post memes and go on rants about how rappers are broke and rappers are disrespectful. And I get it. When you're not making much money and then a rapper buys a beat and does the chargeback thing and takes even more money away from you when you're already sitting at zero. And when you feel like they're playing with you and asking you a million questions and never completing the purchase, I get it. And sometimes I see rappers going on rants against producers. Ultimately, it's almost always because they're frustrated that they're not making the money or the strides themselves that they want to be making. It's really not about the other person. It's just this general frustration that they want to get out. So for a producer who's struggling to sell beats, who wants to just go on Twitter and talk about how rappers are broke bums, obviously that's going to hurt their careers. And you don't know who's watching. I personally wouldn't buy a product from a company that disrespects me or my community. And I feel like we as producers and some rappers were commenting on these tweets. We need to understand that this is relationship building. And even if a rapper this happens to me all the time, even if a rapper doesn't buy a beat today, that doesn't mean 2 months from now they won't. I've had artists wait years to get beats. Why? I don't know. That's none of my business. We're all creatives. We're a little weird. But if you disrespect them today, you lose that relationship and opportunity. I'm not saying accept disrespect. I'm just saying, don't be the disrespectful salesperson. But if a producer is going through this, or if anyone's going through this, I want to know from your perspectives, what are some healthy alternatives to just jumping on social media and releasing that stress? Because the music business is stressful, and we do find that we can't talk to just anybody about it. Like I have trouble venting about the music business to people who aren't in the music business.
Well, I think that's the thing. I mean, you just, as you get further in this, you do find your tribe, of people that, have shared experiences and people that are dealing with it in different ways. So I would just talk to other producers about their experiences, how they've handled it. Because I didn't have that in the beginning. I was just kind of out there just trying to figure shit out. And we did okay. I mean, we did well, but I much rather would have liked to find some folks maybe initially on the internet where we could have discussed these things and how they handle it. But the first option should never just be going to social media and venting. Like, please stop yourself from doing that if you ever get that urge. Really think that through. If you're going to vent and rant, like, make sure you've thought that through before. Don't make it like an impulsive thing. But that's all. I mean, that's all I got for you.
I've definitely pulled back on people from ranting on the internet, and they didn't even know, you know what I'm saying? Like I was watching them, or I just feel like there's a type of person that I'm interested in working with. And if you lack restraint, then I'm not interested in working with you. And I've had my own like social media rants, but I think you got to be cognizant of the way that you do it, what you say, things like that. And I've seen some people I've seen some people try to be slick. I've seen some people say some stuff about my people. And it's like the moment you say something, it may not even be about me or anything I got going on. But if you say the wrong thing, you don't understand who's watching. And like stuff on the internet, it never dies. You can delete that joint. Somebody got a screenshot. If you got any type of followers and they think it's even remotely spicy, somebody has a screenshot. So I think that that's like word to the wise. Like, go talk to a friend, make a voice note, shout into a pillow. But like, sometimes that ranting stuff, you don't understand how many, like you said, Payne, stuff can come years later. I've done that before, like where it's like my money was funny and I had to come back years later, or it was like I stopped working with an artist, but then that person was a good fit for another artist I was working with. And I came back years later because they were cool. But if they would have acted weird, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Yeah. I think wise people have temperance. Like you got to kind of temper yourself.
Yeah. Right. And when we're talking about sales, I mean, I'll just say this. When it comes to a scammer, right? When a scammer reaches out to a rapper and is like, you know, I got this opportunity for you to get this marketing package. It's $50 right now and you're going to get this, and it's a scam. And then the rapper's like, I don't know. I'm just a little concerned about, you know, the specificity here. And they're like, oh, you sound broke anyway. That's what a scammer will do. They'll try to shame you and cuss at you. I see a lot of people who aren't scammers do the same thing though, where, you know, they'll have that sort of reactive knee-jerk sort of impulse, you know, like even a producer trying to sell a beat to a recording artist, and the recording artist is like, yeah, you know, my money's not really right now. And, you know, 100 for the unlimited seems kind of high for me out of budget. Oh, you would be surprised. Like, wow, you're that broke, really? Don't you rap about money? Don't you have a chain on? Like, you don't know what their situation is. So you being an asshole is just going to make them go to the person that says, you know what? Cool. Let me know when. Like, my habit now is just saying, hey, when do you think you'll be ready? And if they give me a specific date, then I just put it on my calendar and say, hey, you know, I'll reconnect with you then. And oftentimes they won't fall off the face of the earth. Either they'll say, you know what, I need another week, or they'll say, yeah, I'm ready. Thanks for checking in. But if you're in a position right there at that moment where your money's messed up and you're like, I really could use this $100 from this artist, the worst possible option is to just cuss them out because you are frustrated and you're under stress. I understand the need, or not even the need. Well, yeah, the need to get that negativity and that stress out, but it's not going to work out for you. There are so many alternatives in that situation. You could say, well, what can you afford now? You know, like you just being flexible and seeing what the person really needs from the situation and giving them the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, some people are bullshitters, but you can't treat everybody as though they've already done that to you. You know what I mean? These people could become, there was one rapper that commented, this is why I only mess with 3 producers and I get beats every month because they show love. And I'm like, yeah, you really don't understand the power of a lifelong relationship with someone who purchases from you. That can change your entire life if you can, you know, build many relationships of that nature. That's really the key to damn near any business, but especially in the music business where everything is so relationship based.
Yeah. One more quick little, not story, well, I guess little story about like the internet usage and how it didn't come back to bite me, but I thought about it, right? Because people know that I've said a few things about Kanye here and there on Twitter. But not recently, because more recently, I just think I feel bad for him, but I thought he was problematic like a long time ago. Like I just kind of saw it ramping up. But when we did 1 week notice the second time, Justin Hunt brought through Rhymefest. Rhymefest is one of Kanye's longtime collaborators. And he didn't say anything, but it made me think like, you know, this is somebody who's with Kanye a lot. Like it could potentially mess up something later on down the line. And then, you know, then we were starting to work on Rhymefest, Justin, and a young lady named Sarah, that we started working on a show, like putting the framework together for a show to pitch that didn't end up happening. So we started working. So it was just mindful of like, man, this, like, people are, so close. You don't never know who knows who, especially as a manager. You don't want to mess up a relationship or an opportunity for one of your clients because you were talking crazy on Twitter, as we're starting to have meetings and talk with like some big names, people that, could give us an opportunity that can change the directory of Big Josh's career. And you just don't want to mess that up because, you had to get this tweet off. So just be mindful of that stuff because you just never know like who you're going to run into or what opportunity is going to present itself or get shut down. Because like Erinn said, you don't know who's watching. I'm surprised all the time of the people that say they saw a tweet of mine or, an Instagram post. People are on social media a lot, and it could come up because they follow you. It could come up in their discovery page. Just be mindful of how you present yourself. That's all I'll say. All right, we can go ahead and wrap it up. The last thing that I know, do you guys still do consultations? Because I know we took it out of our bio. And then somebody ran, I don't even know where he got the link. I think it was because somebody, going to your point, Payne, like it may not be a purchase today, but it might be later on down the line. Because I took the link down and somebody booked some sessions with me that I guess still had the link from last year because he wanted to book it last year. It was just the timing or for whatever the reason was. I'm still down to do some. Maybe we'll put the link back in our bio, especially for folks that want to start a label. Like if you, for me, I mean, I could definitely talk to you about other things, but that's kind of what interests me. I enjoy it. Like for the folks that want to start a label, and want to have a consultation with me, or if you want to have a consultation with DJ Payne One or Erinn, we'll put the link back somewhere, be more visible.
And I have on djpayne1beats.com. It's a service there, so you can reach me there, or just reach out to any of us. We're easy to access on social media. Maybe not when Instagram starts giving check marks to anyone with $15.
Don't DM me though. Hit my bio or hit the BYOD bio. I do general consults, and then on the BYOD page, Brandon and I do rollout strategy, creative consultations, all sorts of stuff. So yeah, don't DM me. Just go to the bio. There
you go. Don't DM Erinn. She'll cuss you out.
Unless you want to say nice things. People have been sending me such sweet DMs lately. So thank y'all. Everybody's been saying such nice things to me. I love those, but none of the other BS that comes to my DMs.
Oh, cool. All right, Payne, we can wrap it up.
Wow, I'm proud of us. We hit our mark with timing. And just as my cat decides to turn my entire house into a sports arena. Appreciate you tuning in.
But Payne, what episode is somebody on Twitter said?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, we're at 200. Can you believe that?
Oh, this is 200?
This is 200. I'm pretty. Yeah, this is 200. Wait, is it?
Erinn says no.
No.
I think we're at like 189 or 190.
We're at 191. We're
close. Yeah.
So we're close. So that means in 9 episodes, we have to do something special. I don't know what that, we'll get Willie D and Scarface on here, and Hobson, and who else?
We should do lines of coke together on air.
That was random and weird. No, I know she was joking, y'all. She was joking. She was not.
100%. I've never done coke and have no desire.
And let me. And I know we got a couple other podcasts to plug, but the Independent Living podcast has been really cool. It's been fun. It's given me an opportunity to do like less talking and pretty much just allow other people to say a lot of the same things that we say here. But sometimes you need to hear it from a more popular voice for it to sink in. So, Queen Herbie and her husband, Nick Noonan, were my latest guests. That podcast is out now, or it'll be out by the time people listen to this podcast. Another dope one. I just feel like it's helpful to hear from people that are like, not just doing okay. Like these people are killing it. Like these people are doing really well for themselves. So to learn like how they got to this point, like each journey is different. And I think there's gems to pull out from every episode, because I've been able to cut literally like 25 to 30 reels from every conversation. Like I got a lot of posts. I'm locked and loaded. I'll have an endless amount of, I'm LaRussell over here with the content. Go
ahead.
I just don't post as much as him, but I got something to post probably every day for at least the next 4 or 5 months if I wanted to.
And I really vibe with the Independent Living podcast, so y'all definitely tune in. Also, check out the How to Build Your Own Dreams podcast. On the completely other end of the spectrum, it's me and my business partner trying to figure out how to run a successful business and talking through it. So Dame has the heavy hitters making the millions and figured it out already. You could listen to us figure it out in real time. I just had a really heavy podcast talking about this winter when I was about to quit the company. So yeah, check out both of them.
You ain't going nowhere. Erinn with the fake quits.
I was close.
Erinn, it's just like rappers saying they retire. And that's
Errin's version. Working on exiting with my lawyer. I was close.
Erinn just dropped her Black album.
Yeah, I just want to be a podcaster at this point.
Hit us with that Logic treatment. The Lil Wayne. The who else fake retired?
Jay-Z.
Yeah, Jay. Yeah, you ain't going nowhere. You stuck, Erinn. Just like
it's hard to believe. It really is.
You stuck just like me.
That's why you said it. Can't ever leave.
For sure.
All right. Well, I don't have a podcast to plug other than this one. So thanks for watching this. I mean, my YouTube channel. If you want to see us, if you're listening to us right now, you can see us on my YouTube channel, but I also put out other video content. So feel free to watch that. It's not exactly podcast format, but I like to think it's valuable.
Podcast format. You could just upload the audio and
I have so many visual aids sometimes though. So so do we. We'll figure it out. People have told me to do that. I just need an assistant. So yeah, if anyone wants to. Actually, I shouldn't say that because then people will DM me and then I'll feel bad because I won't see them all. Anyway, same time, same place. Catch us right here on the Music Entrepreneur Club podcast. Appreciate you tuning in. Peace.
Peace.